What's going on, guys? Welcome back to this episode of Restoration of the Vick. Today we got these Zen Yeezy Greys that belong to J Collector. We're almost done with this haul. These aren't in awful shape. He took care of these, but they do have a lot of wear. On the midsoles, it has paint cracking. That's got to get fixed. On the gray area, we got to mix and match that paint. In this backspace area, it's scuffed up and has a couple of nicks. For that, we got to touch it up. The main thing we're gonna be doing to these shoes is turning them into the sample version. That means we're gonna go in and dye the sock liner with that bright orange tone that the original sample version has. We got some work ahead of us, guys, so without further ado, let's get it started. First things first, as always, we'll put this shoe to the side for before and after purposes. Next, we're gonna take out our shoelace, lace lock, and insole. Let's put this to the side. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, the shoe really isn't that beat, so they're not really that dirty. However, I still want to give this shoe a quick pass over, so we're going to do that using all 3 brushes, but my main focus though is the sock liners. Like I mentioned, we are going to be turning these into the sample version, so it's going to require some orange sock liners. In order to get that orange, bright, vibrant color, we got to get these as clean as possible. So we're going to start off by using a soft bristle brush, cleaning up the insides. Once that's done, we'll give the rest of the upper a quick pass over. First, let's grab our 4-ounce bottle of solution, squirt 2 squirts inside our bowl of water. Now we're gonna grab our shoe tree, adjust it to size real quick, and insert it inside the shoe. The first brush I'm gonna be using is our soft bristle brush, and we're gonna start with the sock liners. All right, all done with the sock liners. They do look a lot better. They're less dingy, so that color is gonna take in nicely. Now we're on to the rest of the shoe. Like I mentioned, they're not dirty at all. We just wanna give it a quick pass over so it can dry evenly. I'm not gonna do any scrubbing on the white print area, because if I scrub too hard, it's gonna wipe off the white print, and we do not want that. All right, so far so good, you guys. The uppers are all cleaned up. I hit the entire shoe so it could dry nice and even. We're gonna skip the medium bristle brush. We just don't need it for this cleaning. The last brush we're gonna be using is our stiff bristle brush to take care of this outsole. Cleaning is all done. Let's put this shoe to the side. Let's grab our insole and lace. For the insole, we're gonna clean it using our soft bristle brush. And for our laces, we're gonna put them in our leftover water and solution and give them a good scrub down. All right, guys, we're all done with the cleaning. For the lace and insole, we're gonna put that in the washing machine. For the shoe, we're gonna let it air dry outside. We'll be back in a bit. We're back, you guys. We got the shoe fully clean and dried, ready to go. The next thing we gotta do is move on to these sock liners. Like I mentioned, we are turning these into the sample version. That means we gotta take this yellow to a nice, bright, vibrant orange. But before we can do all that, we gotta do some taping. Tape job's complete. I had to take my time on this one. Even on the inside, I taped off the footboard. Now, before we can start laying down the paint, we gotta tape off the size tag and these rivets. For this, it needs to be 100% perfect, so we're gonna be using our Cricut cutter to cut out a perfect square and 6 circles for the rivets. All right, let's lay down some paint. For this mix, I went ahead and mixed up bright orange and fluorescent orange. I mixed it about 50-50, real easy. We're gonna lay it down using my airbrush. Sockliners are good to go. I love how this orange turned out. It pops, it looks exactly like the sample version. Laying down the paint was super easy. What was really time consuming was the tape job. I'm glad I did a good job with that because it got no overspray anywhere on the shoe. Now we're on to the leather and the midsole. Before we can paint the white and the gray, we gotta do some prep work. We're gonna be using a combination of acetone and alcohol, as well as cotton balls to remove all the paint. Got all the old paint completely off the midsoles and the uppers. For the leather, before we can move on to laying down the paint, we gotta do a couple more things. Specifically this area, it's pretty rough, it's been scuffed. We're gonna use some sandpaper to smooth that area down. Also, there's 4 little holes on the leather. They're not that deep, but they're there. For this, we'll be using some leather filler and a spatula. We're simply gonna fill it in, let it dry, then use some sandpaper to blend it in with the rest of the leather. Prep work is almost complete. Now we're on to some taping. We gotta tape off the uppers and soles so we can get this midsole ready for some paint. All taped up, now let's lay down our flat white paint from Angelus using our angular brush. Midsoles are fully complete. Now we're on to the last part, this back leather panel. For this, it was a hard mix. I mixed the paint up before I did all the prep work on the shoe. I used all these different colors to get this perfect match. I used white, light blue, olive, magenta, brown, light gray, green, black, and sand. I don't have an exact ratio for you guys, but if you guys mess around with all these colors, you should get a perfect match. Let's go ahead and lay it down using an angular brush. Paint job is on point, the gray came out perfect. Now the last step you gotta do is lace the shoe up. Alright guys, that is gonna bring us to an end on this custom and restoration on these new sample Yeezy Zen 1s. This restoration and custom turned out great. My favorite part by far about this whole project is the orange sock liners. I really wish for the general release they would have done the same thing. As you can see with the yellow and the orange just looks really dull with the rest of the colorway. The orange with the gray on this shoe just pops so much more. Other than that, for the shoe, I went ahead and did some restoration work. The midsole needed a full midsole repaint. We stripped off all the old paint and gave it a fresh new coat of white paint. The hardest part about this whole restoration by far was the gray area. I used about 10 different colors and 2 hours of mixing to eventually get the color on point. We also went ahead and used some Rejuvenator products to clean up the shoe. You can find all the Rejuvenator products at rejuvenator.com. Use my promo code in the description down below to save 10%. This restoration and custom turned out great. We're almost done with J Collector shoes. We got about 2 or 3 more pairs to go before we go back to Chicago and drop them all off. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is Vic Almighty. I'll catch you guys next Monday. See you guys.